a lot of you generally don't get to see my face, so I kind of keep out of that. But I came across a cylinder a few weeks ago that more or less I forgot about. In that cylinder was a lot of posters and banners and such. So for the last few weeks, I've had them all kind of like sitting under like a weighted carpet to try to flatten them in an effort to kind of like be able to display them or at least lay them out. So most of you know I obviously have magazines and stuff from Freestyle to BMX Plus, BMX Action, yada yada yada. Still have all of them right over on this shelf over here, but obviously there was more to it than just that. So again, these have all been sitting more or less in a cylinder for the better part of 25, 30 years. Some of them are autographed, some of them are just what they are. And to give context to it, myself, my brother, a few other of our friends worked at a bike shop in the 80s. Some of you are familiar with Charlie's Bike Shop, which was ultimately in Levittown, Pennsylvania. Kind of lived, in a sense, a few years of my life there, a few years of our life as young men growing up. But ultimately, we had access to the teams, the riders, and things like that when they came out. Usually saw products before anybody else, and this is essentially what we had. And the pack rat that I am, I hate throwing out things to just throw them out. But these are also obviously part of my childhood and part of my memory. So with that. So these are in no particular order, and I've got them kind of spread out all over the place. And some of these are double-sided. So obviously this is from Dyno. These are both the same poster. Obviously one I had autographed because it was from a show that Dyno did at the shop in 1987. 87 was kind of a big year at the shop for shows. We had a bunch of the major teams out there: Haro, Dyno, CW, Skyway, just to obviously pinpoint a few. And I do have most of those shows up on my YouTube channel, so obviously be sure to check those out. But obviously here you got Volker, Hernandez, and DeLuca all at the show that day. And again, just to show, it's the same poster. It's double-sided, but I guess for what it was back in the day, it was a pretty cool thing. I guess I have two, maybe because I worked at the shop and I just got another one. But yeah, let's get started there. This one, it's just a Peregrine one that we probably had for the shop to display as a sponsor. I do remember some Peregrine stuff being in the shop that we were able to access and get. Like cheaper, not free like we were sponsored, but obviously cheaper. Another Dyno poster here. Let's see, is this one two-sided? It is. So that's also one of the 87 posters. Obviously they had a different thing going on. That's an 88 poster, but to clarify, that was the poster they brought with them. So the team was at the shop in 87. But yeah, that was the poster they brought with them, but you can see the 88 date there. This one is obviously 87. Again, same riders, Dino, Dave, and Brett. And that's, once again, dual-sided. That's a pile of posters I have here from the, actually that's George Gallo there, but that's a whole pile, but they're still unraveling. This was actually the poster that the Team Haro brought during the 87 tour of the shop. That tour was just, by the time it hit our shop, it was just Ron and Dave. They did two awesome shows that day. To my understanding, we were supposed to have Brian Blyther too, but Brian had sustained some kind of injury at a show prior to this, so that's why he's not on there or autographed on this, but he was not at the shop that day. Here I got Skyway on the road, and it's so the riders at the shop that day were Scotty Freeman, Matt Hoffman, Steve Swoop, Ron Haro was the team announcer / manager, then obviously Kevin Jones. The interesting thing with Kevin is that this was his first show with Skyway. And again, I do have that show up on my YouTube channel. From what I understand, the team did a show, I think in the Harrisburg area, like a couple nights before, and essentially picked Kevin up on the way. So again, that was Kevin's first official show with Skyway. But yeah, that was the poster they brought, and no, that's not dual-sided. CW was always a staple at our shop. They seem to be there every year. Seppi, Greg Cove, Diz Hicks. I want to say this was the, what tour, maybe 87, 86 maybe? Because I got to remember when Greg was at the shop. This, I don't know how I came across this one. This one, I'm kind of thinking it was along the lines of it was sent to the shop and as promotional, but, you know, we took it and had it, and obviously I still have it. Big ass Skyway banner. Another Dino promotional thing there, which is cool. One that I saw, you know, here and there, but we didn't actually ever have Hutch at the shop. But somehow I got a poster from '86. But again, the shop got sent a ton of these types of things. I guess in the event you were trying to get a team there. Again, I didn't know all the back end stuff, you know, but you know, there you go. Pretty clean condition except for a few edges. What else we got here? Two Hip, King of Vert Tour poster. Not autographed or anything. You know, again, a poster that was sent to the shop, and obviously I got one. This guy here, now this was an interesting one. This was before I knew Josh White or Dino DeLuca or any of them existed. I knew Eddie existed, so this was kind of early on when I started riding, and there was a show that we heard rumor of at Oxford Valley Mall, which is in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. So the thing with that show was Eddie wasn't there, but it was Dino DeLuca, which at that point I'd never heard of him, you know, except maybe I browsed by him in the magazine and just never paid attention. But there was also some guy there, Josh White. You can't really see it, you know, unless I hit an angle here, but Josh did autograph this right there. And I have two of these. So, and one of them isn't playing nice, so I had to kind of put another poster on it. It's still kind of folding itself, so, but that's pretty cool. Haro poster, if I recall right, I got this from a friend of mine who basically didn't want it anymore. So he just kind of asked me if I wanted it, and at that point, I liked Haros and I rode my Haro, so I took it. Team GT, I think this is a double-sided one. Yeah, you got Freestyle on one side. There you go. Racing on the other. We never had GT themselves at the shop, but you know, still a pretty cool thing to have. I think most of us had somebody who was either skated or skating, or maybe you skated too. So there was a skate shop not far from us called Mindy's. I think they were in the Fairless Hills Shopping Center, which is still around today. But in this particular case, it was the Bones Brigade. So, you know, everybody came out to see Rodney, which, I mean, if you got to see him live, it was amazing what he could do with a skateboard. I mean, absolutely amazing. Obviously, Mike McGill and Jesse Muniak. I mean, all these guys, I only really paid attention to Rodney because of what he did. But again, to be able to see something like that live was simply awesome. And obviously, I still have the poster and autographs. This is just a generic Vision poster, which, you know, still very cool to this day. I think we all had a Rad poster at some point. I forget where I got this. It probably came to the shop, but you know, still have it. We got some other banners, Factory Racing from DK, the Pacific Palms. The top one's a banner, bottom one's a poster. You don't look any different except for the shiny, but obviously you got that. But you know, I'm trying to trying to flatten these. I don't know what I'm going to do with them and such, but they obviously hold a good memory. But I'll go back to this for a second. Like, I got these here. That's George. Oh, look, Pete. And Blyther, and I can turn these around. Yeah, they're double-sided, so there you go. Dominguez, Hoffman. Let's see who's on the back of Pete here. Oh, look, Ron. Some guy, Ron, trying to show off. And look at that. Who we got? Carl. So, but again, I got all these just living rent free here. So, hopefully, if that entertained you guys for a little bit today, get some of these like folded back up, I guess, or not folded, but flattened more. Do have another section of posters over here, but that's when I was big into hair metal, which I'm not saying I'm not a fan today, but these are like the original Metallica posters from the '80s when I had Iron Maiden. That's still one of the best albums, and Justice for All. But yeah, still have these. Anybody have any of them? Anyway, hopefully you get a kick, or you got some memories from this. But feel free to leave a comment, questions, or anything like that. All right.